but yeah, they're and that actually then shows a gender aspect too, because my mom is much more computer proficient than my dad is.
There's some terms when we talk about digital divide. There's some other digital terms that we hear thrown around with technology, especially in education. Things like digital natives, digital immigrants, and they say digital natives. These are the ones that have grown up with the technology. It's second nature. They can all do it. Digital immigrants are generally for people like our age, who didn't have it as much growing up, and we were supposed to have immigrated in.
Are you saying that I'm a digital immigrant?
I'm not saying that, because I think their terms are a load of crap.
Because I've had computers ever since I was a kid.
Have you?
Well, kind of.
I think I saw my first computer, my dad had one in his law office. It was an old TRS-80 with cassette drives, but I wasn't allowed to touch it.
No, I would touch the TRS-80s that were in outside of Radio Shack, and I'd be doing some programming on them. I was one of those punks that made them text scroll up on the screen until you had to stop. But I also had an Atari 2600.
Yeah, see, I don't remember.
And while that, I wouldn't go so far as to say that that's a computer, but I was using that type of technology.
Yeah.
From, I remember back, I would, the fact that I could actually go and granted, very simple, basic programs, but that I could do that on a computer sitting outside of a store, and I didn't own one.
Yeah.
Because it was so expensive. But also I remember the Odyssey, the Magnavox Odyssey system that had the little pad with the controller, and it had the number pad on it. They would.
I forgot about those. Those were crazy.
I would play those in Montgomery Ward, Elder Beerman, while my parents would go shopping. I wouldn't say that they have been around me since I was born, but from an early enough age.
I think the first computer thingy that I can remember is I remember what house we were living in, and my dad brought home one of the old Pong consoles.
Oh, wow.
I remember when Pong came out.
Yep.
We got an Atari when it came out, mm-hmm. The gaming system. Which, by the way, I don't know if y'all have played video games lately with all those buttons and things. I got along fine with the joystick and one button.
Yep.
That worked for me. I watched my son. He's trying to get me to play this Medal of Honor stuff with him, and
buttons.
I'm like, he's all like killing people, and I'm the guy running into the wall, pointing at the sky. I can't figure it out. But we had that. I had a friend who had a Commodore 64. But when I learned to type, I took typing. I didn't take keyboarding. I was on an electric typewriter, and even up in the college, I got my first computer my last semester of my bachelor's degree. And
yeah, I think we got our first family computer when I was a sophomore in high school.
What was it?
It was a let me think here. It was actually, no, we may have gotten one before that, unless that was it. I can't remember for sure. It was a Tandy E1000.
Wow.
With one of the first 3.5-inch hard drives, or 3.5-inch floppy drives.
Yeah.
But then
that is back in the day.
My own first personal computer was one that I built.
You built your first one?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I went to Staples and bought a 386 DX so I could have the math coprocessor, and paid extra to double the RAM to 4 megabytes.
Pretty styling back
then. Yeah, and it ran Windows 3.1, I think, is what it ran.
Yeah, I think our the second one that we got, we were able to put on Windows 3.1, and then eventually
95.
95.
Which it's still pretty. It's also basically still 95 nowadays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's another discussion. But age, I think, this whole notion of digital immigrants versus digital natives, I think it's a nice concept, a nice way to look at it. I disagree with it because I think people have personal dispositions. So I mean, look at your parents, right? Your mom seems to have taken to the nook, didn't need help. That had nothing to do with her age or her gender. That had to do with her. That's who she was.
Right.
Where your dad's, my parents are kind of, they weren't very technologically savvy. My dad will still ask me questions now that he's asked me for years. My mom, my best mom story was when she called me up and one day and asked me what Kevin Costner's email address was. Now this was back when I was in graduate school, so we're talking the mid-90s.
Dances with Wolves.
Oh, that was the movie. She loved Dances with Wolves, and Shumani Tatonka Owachi, don't you know you're my friend? She loved it, and I'm like, Mom, you're not going to find Kevin Costner's email address online. And she's like, why not? And I'm saying, because he doesn't want you bothering him.
Yeah. By the way, did you know that Hands with a Fist
Stands with a Fist?
or Stands with a Fist is in that
Battlestar Galactica.
Battlestar Galactica that you just rented out today.
Yeah, I did. See, I can't reach. There we
Go
go.
from playing a
ESG
Indian
season 1.
to being president of the 13 colonies.
Yep, not bad for Secretary of Education.
True.
But all in all, I think age is gone
Yeah.
or going.
Well, I mean, you look at,
It's not an issue like it used to be, I don't think.
no, I mean, when I've taught my 302 integrating technology class.
That's the
in past,
undergrad version of this basically 621 class.
I literally have had older students that were more comfortable with the computers than the students fresh out of high school.
And you know what? That probably has to do with access.
Very much. It very well could be.
Which brings us to the third point of the digital divide that is going proud and strong, and that's socioeconomic status.
Right.
Technology divides us by socioeconomic status.
Mhm.
The haves have it, and the haves not
Right.
generally don't. And we could talk about this a lot, but I think that but what we're really more interested in are examples from your lives, to talk about it when you discuss the videos online. What is it that you've seen? We live in Kentucky, an area where, what's a rural county over here somewhere? I don't know.
Pike County.
So what's the difference between Pike County and the access that they have there? How different is that from Lexington or Louisville? How might that shape their educational experience, right? We had one of our doctoral students sent me a thing from his school in West Virginia where they're going to go to a one-to-one initiative where every student's given a laptop, but they did a study who has access to the internet, and they found out that I think it was 84% of students have access to the internet at home.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really, you hear 84%, you're like, that's fantastic.
That's great.
Hey, but what are the other 16% supposed to do?
Right.
That's the problem. And that's what has to be solved. But on top of that, they broke down the 84%, and like 12% or something of them still were using dial-up modems.
Right.
So now basically what you really have are 25% of the students don't have any reliable connectivity.
Well, and that makes me wonder if it's maybe, I definitely agree that there is a socioeconomic aspect, but with the digital divide, but the other aspect too could be geographic location.
Okay, yeah.
As a digital divide.
Talk about
because, the problem is that some areas do not have reliable high-speed internet access, which it has an impact on what you can do online.
Yeah, infrastructures.
The infrastructure is a big aspect. You go to Lexington, you can get great high-speed internet access. It's all over the place. You go to another area, and the best you might be able to get is dial-up or satellite. Now, and it really has an impact on whether or not you're a producer or a consumer of technology. With DSL and with cable modem, you've got plenty of speed coming in for being a consumer. You've got plenty of speed going out to be a producer so that you can be putting stuff out there on the internet. Dial-up, it's slow, so you can't be an adequate consumer because of the slow nature of it. It's slow going out from you because you're still just dealing with that dial-up service. So you can't be a producer. With satellite, and there's some people that have satellite access, they can get decent input so they can be a consumer, but the output is really slow, so they can't really be an adequate producer. In fact, I've got a doctoral student that just the other day was excited about being able to, the AT&T was putting in, I guess, a DSL location just down the road from them. They've been on satellite, and he'll try and participate in virtual chats, and he'll just start going out. He can hear us, but it's just not going out well from where he's at because he's on satellite. This is a teacher. This is not. I wouldn't say it's someone that is
lower on the
socioeconomic status. So it's not. In that sense, it's not really. It's not based on the economic. It's based on that geographic location.
Yeah. And there might not be a way to access that geographic location. I know that 22 years ago, I returned home from living abroad. I lived in Guatemala for 2 years, and I was lived up in the jungles, and we had to take a 5-hour bus ride to the nearest phone. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, in those same little villages where I lived, the Kekchi Indians that I lived with carry cell phones.
Yeah.
Because it was cheaper to put up a cell tower than anything else. So now, they don't have electricity or running water, but they carry cell phones.
Right.
And so, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of another.
Well, and even I carry an iPhone. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say that classifies me in being a high economic status, but I'm able to afford an iPhone. Mm-hmm. But just up until last year, in Mount Sterling, I could only get edge speed. There was no 3G. I could get 3G in Moorhead, but I couldn't get it in Mount Sterling. I could get it in Winchester, but not Mount Sterling. And now we do have 3G, so I've got that access. But between Moorhead and Mount Sterling, there is no 3G. So people in Bath County can't get 3G service. That's not an aspect of socioeconomic status. That is just an aspect of the infrastructure creating that digital divide.
Yeah, that's good. That's a really good point. So what we want you to do this week as well is tell us about the digital divide in your life. We all have stories. Y'all are all over the state, and your school districts are different, and your experiences growing up, and share those as we talk the next 2 weeks. What are your experiences with the digital divide? All in all, as we get into this class and as we start going, and by the way, next week we're going to post up a video to talk about the final project. That'll be our topic for next week's video. Because I think it says on the module, on the syllabus for this week, it mentions it with the due date for the final project. So next week's video, the week 3 video, we'll talk about the final project. But right now, you just need to basically be reading. Yep. You're going to read about technology integration, or what technology and learning is what it is.
Right.
The impact of technology on learning and the digital divide. Do your manic posts, your initial posts up this week, and your responses up next week. Any great pop culture reference that you want to make? Nobody, or one person you said responded to what I was.
One person did make the comment of being a Bruce Campbell fan, but maybe not as much as what I was.
Well,
So that they did catch Bruce Campbell, unless I said Bruce Campbell, but I can't think.
No,
that I
you did. You did not. You did not. Maybe what we can do this week is we can see if anybody knows what we mean in the fact that we hope that somebody in here sees as much as Alexander Lavelle Harris does. If they can see like he does, that's pretty good.
Yep.
All right. Anything else you want to say this week? We're trying to work.
No.
We're trying to work on getting access to a streaming server
Yes.
here on campus, so we don't have to chop these into pieces. We're trying to actually keep them short, but you know, this is a graduate class, and we got stuff that we need you guys to go
Right.
over.
Although I really do want to get to having 2-hour video clips for them to watch.
That would be awesome.
That would.
That would be awesome.
I mean, you know,
It wouldn't bother me. I've already got my degree.
It would be the
great.
621 movies.
Yeah, the 621 movie marathon. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. We could even have a party. We might be able to rent out the old rent out one of the movie theaters and have everybody come in and watch 621.
You never know. You know, like, hey, look, let's go watch Dr. Curry and Dr. Miller on the big screen.
Be nice.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we're good for this week.
I think we are.
Yeah, we'll see you guys online. Let us know if you have any questions. You know how to get a hold of us. We're around, and you know it's our job too. So we're supposed to kind of help if you have questions. But
We do.
I know it. Seriously. No,
Okay.
no, yeah.
Ask us if you
Well,
need-
no, they want us to do it if they're going to pay us. So
You get paid.
not much. It's not like I'm in the College of Business.
Wait a minute. You actually get paid?
I do.
I
You
worked
don't?
here 10 years. I've never been paid.
Maybe it's me.
Something's wrong here.
Maybe they just like me better.
Yeah. I'm gonna.
All right, guys. See ya.
Bye.